No, we would never do that.
I haven't made a speech longer than 3 minutes, so how can I make 10? Managing Director, are you fully aware of the rules in the House
Yes,
in terms of a conference committee?
I'm somewhat aware of the rules in the House.
Have you checked what is that rule?
Yes.
What's that?
Well, I mean, I think one of I mean, as a practical matter, I think the other question that would be out there would be, what would be the vehicle that currently exists within the legislature that would allow them to be able to give the administrative fee back to the city during this legislative session. It doesn't seem to exist right now.
Yeah. Are you fully aware that there has been more or less an agreement between the House and the Senate that says you cannot inject new subject when you go conference committee?
That's the point, right?
Okay. And the only time that you do that is to trace the differences between the House version and the Senate version.
Right.
Okay. I know that we have been trying in the past to ask for reduction of the 10% administration of the TAT. I was one of them who went out and asked that it be given to us. And that was since 2007 when we passed it, and year after year we went out, and they did not move. What is the possibility or chances of this measure that we are asking now, that the legislature might take up this and give us whatever is the 10% even for this year?
I'm not completely familiar with all the exceptions that exist that would allow this to go in front of the House or Senate. I think that there might be a way to get the vehicle opened up again by going to the speaker or something like that. But I don't see that that would take an exception in order to be able to make it
As a
happen.
former member of the House, I have a lot of friends there, and just this morning I asked, what are the chances for us, if we pass this resolution, for them to take it up? The answer that I got was, it's most unlikely, next impossibility. So if that's the case, your question about timing, your concern is that we might piss them off. Is that your reading?
Well, what I said was, I don't know if this is the most sensitive time to bring it up. I mean, we are talking about a time when we as the city, as we went through yesterday, we're definitely concerned about our finances, but it's well documented that the state is concerned as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions from the members? Councilmember Kobayashi.
Thank you,
Hi.
Managing Director. Do you know what the commitment was when this was first negotiated?
I don't.
10%?
I don't know.
So you don't know what the city had, since you have a lot of former administrators from the previous administration, I didn't know.
We do have a few of them, but I didn't ask them that question, so
Okay.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know how to answer that.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Further questions from the members? Councilman Brandes.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chin, does the Carlisle administration have any other course of action to request the legislature to return some of these monies from our GET surcharge to the city?
In other words, I think the course of action that we were trying to take was to bring it up in our discussions about them not touching our TAT or giving us the bonds instead of the cash, and that avenue was tried. My own sense of it is that whenever you're thinking about how to bring, it's all about leverage, it's all about timing, and I think those are just the issues to consider. As far as whether our administration has thought through what we want to do with this during this go-around, it didn't appear to be the right time. If the council feels like it's the right time to bring this up, then we're not questioning the substance of what's being said here.
You said giving the bonds instead of the cash. Could you elaborate a little?
Meaning, and I'm sorry, I'm speaking very informally, meaning the use of the, having the state give $200, borrow money from the GE tax surcharge by giving the city bonds, and then taking the cash to use for their own operating expenses.
Is the administration comfortable with that proposal?
We're not comfortable with that, and it's our understanding that that bill is dead right now, which to us, right now, that's the case, and we think that's a good thing.
Okay, but as far as the 10% that the state retains from the GET surcharge, the administration does not have any plans at this point in time of seeking some of that money being returned to the city.
It doesn't seem like the right time for this legislative session.
So you may look at that in the future?
Yes, certainly.
Thank you, Mr. Chen.
Thank you, Councilmember. Further questions? Second time, Councilmember Cachola.
Are you talking about the $200 million that they're proposing to take from half percent of the GET?
Correct.
And the vehicle that's being used is Senate Bill 1426?
Correct.
So that if you pass this bill and urge them to use this measure, it's practically reopening everything, including taking away $200 million from us, or even dig deeper than that.
Right. I mean,
So that's the danger that I can see. That did you say that it's practically dead right now? Nah. So that if we bring this thing up, I can sense that everything is open up, and they can come up and take 200 million or even more if they are pissed with us.
the legislative experience in this room is
That's
far
the
vaster than
danger
mine,
that I
but
can see, because
right.
when I was there, I've been there, done that. Anytime you take a bill out, you can do anything you want with it within the purpose of the bill.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's, so on balance, you know, we're talking about this resolution. There's a lot of substance to it. On the other hand, you have the TAT, you have the GO bonds, you have the public service company tax. These are, you know, they're all out there right now. So
when you bring this thing up as a vehicle, then it's a new ball game. Everything can happen.
Again, I'm not the person with the legislative experience, but I would imagine that would be the case.
Yes, we do that every time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions from the members? Thank you, Managing Director. Is
Thank
there
you.
anyone else here wishing to testify with respect to Resolution 11-91 CD1? Last call for testifiers. Not members, we turn now to discussion on the matter before us. Discussion. Councilmember Cheng.
Thank you very much, Chair. I very much appreciated the Managing Director's testimony. As we all know, there are a number of measures over at the state legislature that could jeopardize our share of the transient accommodations tax, the rest of the GET money for the rail. And given that, as the Managing Director mentioned, the state's facing its own $1.3 billion budget crisis, while I certainly agree with the spirit and the content of the resolution that the city should be receiving the 10% that the state has been taking off the top, to be sensitive to our friends across the street, I'm not sure that this is the most opportune time to pass this resolution. And if the chair might be willing to consider a motion to table or withdraw the resolution, I think that would be given some serious consideration.
Before I entertain that motion, if someone were to make that motion, I want to hear further discussion. Councilmember Cachola.
First, let me commend Councilmember Berg for introducing this resolution. We have always been fighting to get our share of the TAT way back. It's not the first time that we did this. You, Mr. Chair, myself, and others, even during the time when we passed the TAT, the GET half percent, we know already that 10% is over and above the cost in the administration of collecting half percent GET. I pleaded with them at one point in time, but there are reasons that they gave it to me. And the reason why I said I have to commend Councilmember Berg is because that's exactly what we have done in the past. It's not the first time that we did it. some of us are members, we're members of the House as well as the Senate, and we know how they operate. I'm pretty sure that Councilmember Berg also knew about the operation of both houses. But I don't think that at this point in time, if we try to open up the process, especially when the temperature in the legislature is so hot to a point that they even cannot balance their budget, it's still in limbo. That if we have to resurrect Senate Bill 1426 SD2, that we might end up compromising some of the things that we have fought for. I believe that the intention of Councilmember Berg is good. If he understands how the legislature, that especially the temperament of the members at this point in time, that if there be anyone who is going to ask that this be deferred, that I'll be asking the introducer of this resolution to do that, so that we will be, he already have sent a message. I read the article in the papers today. His island viewpoint is right on the mark. And that is already a very strong message to the members of the legislature. It's so strong to a point that even with that, if I were a member of the House or a member of the state legislature, quite a few of them are pissed. And that's exactly, I'm putting myself in their shoes, that for us to proceed with this might be counterproductive. So I'm asking Councilmember Berg if he will be able to just be the one to move that this be deferred, and we will just have to deal with them some other time, or at the same time lobby them that in the next legislative session that they will give us a chance to give back some of our money. This morning, I checked with my friends in the legislature. I found out that you cannot inject new subject in conference committee. And this bill, if they have to bring it out, is next to impossibility. It is most unlikely. If that's the thing that we have found out, that is quite impossible or next to impossibility to pull this thing through, is practically not going to move. So your island viewpoint is the signal to them that we mean business. And I'll be the first one to say that we did that the last time strongly and we loved them. So you already have sent a signal. Maybe Councilmember Berg, you did a good job. It's time for you to think if you can withdraw, move for the deferral of this bill. And that's enough message that we sent to the legislature. As a member of the legislature with the experience that I had with some of the others, it's bedlam at this point in time in the legislature. Anything can happen if we open things up. Thank you.
Before I ask Mr. Berg to respond to that answer, I think it would behoove him to hear from more of his colleagues, so he has a better understanding of what decision you might want to make if you hear from the rest of the colleagues, sir. I want you to make sure you have an informed decision. So to give you that allowance, I want to hear from the rest of the colleagues first. Yeah. Further discussion among the members? Councilmember Harimoto.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.